Our first sunflower has opened. I think it's time for us to do another garden tour.
My name is Melissa and this is Wild Hearts Homestead, and over here we have real life homesteading. It's not going to be in a gardening journal or in a Better Homes and Gardens magazine. It's real life, it's messy, but it's beautiful. It has been quite a while since I've shown you guys what is going on in the garden, so let's go take a look together, and while I am looking at the garden, I'll make my to-do list for tomorrow. We'll start out in the big garden. Lots is happening out here. You guys haven't seen this in a while, so there's probably a lot of growth that's new. I've been working on this front section here, just little bits at a time, getting sunflowers planted. If you've been here for a while, you know that I use carpet that can no longer be used indoors to suffocate weeds as I am working in the garden. So I will use my carpet, suffocate the weeds, lay down cardboard, mulch it very heavily. You can see the weeds are already coming back in here, so I'm gonna put that on my to-do list. The weeding is so much. I've not been able to keep up with the weeding this year, but I am using a lot more of this space than I was last year. If you were here last year, then you probably know I had maybe 4 rows in this garden space, and I have about 4,000 square feet of garden space, and I'm still not using all of it. There's still some spots that I need to get covered with mulch and cardboard, get those weeds out before I can plant in there. So I have that growing space, but I'm not necessarily using all of that space currently. I have planted on my T-posts the Henderson Pink Ponderosa beefsteak tomatoes. There's a lot coming out. I am having caterpillars that are not hornworms drilling holes into them and destroying some of them. So I've had some come into the kitchen, and I've had a lot go to the chickens. And our sunflowers are starting to come up and bloom, and they are beautiful. Sunflowers are some of my favorite flowers to have in the garden. They just make my heart so happy, and they are so beautiful. These are habanada peppers first in here. These are from seeds from a friend that I saved, and I got all of these plants from the seeds that she gave me. Some of them are starting to make some peppers on there, so these will give you the flavor without the heat. They have the nata. And we've been taking holy basil. I've got a bunch of holy basil down here and making teas with them, and I've gotten used to it. It was a little bit of a curve at first to learn to enjoy holy basil tea, but I figured out how to make it in a way that we like it, and it's pretty good. And then this is a parsley. I need to get out here and harvest this parsley and dry some of it. My friend Mariah from the Babcock's channel came over the other day and helped me get this row weeded, and then I was able to come out and get mulch put down. It's just been super busy with work, trying to get out in the garden with the kids and everything too, but I was so thankful for the help, because just having somebody to talk to while you're working too, and then the kids have somebody to play with, is so incredibly helpful. And we're getting some of our first ears of corn, which I'm super excited about. You'll notice there's a big height difference in the corn. Some of them are very tall and some of them are very tiny. Even this little guy is trying to put out an ear, and this one's tiny, so we'll see what happens. This is my first time growing corn as an adult. We grew stuff as kids growing up, and we would put it out there, and then when it got too hot and annoying to go out and weed, we just kind of go meh, and just kind of let it go. So when I was a kid, I would farm or garden for fun, but not necessarily for food production, just as a fun thing to do. I did manage to get some cantaloupes planted and kept them watered so they came up, and kept them protected from the slugs. So these ones are going to finish getting watered and then finish mulching. Right past the cantaloupes, I have the bell peppers. We've taken a couple green ones inside. I'm waiting for these ones to turn. I want to make fajitas, and I'm hoping they'll turn very soon. That one got eaten up. If you remember, in the fall, I dug up my pepper plants and brought them inside. This is the only one that survived the winter inside and then came back out. And I forgot to water it, and so it did not make it through the transition back into the ground. But we've got a lot of bell peppers, And these are from seeds that I saved from last year for my bell peppers. One of the things I love to do here is try to be as frugal as possible, so I try not to have to buy seeds every year. I try very hard to learn how to save my own seeds and then use them from year to year to year, and then I also trade them with people to get new kinds of seeds. I'll start extra plants and trade them with people. So I look for specific heirloom seeds that I can save the seeds from, and I'm fortunate enough here that I have a seed library in our library branch. It's about an hour away, but you can get 10 free seed packets with your library card every time you go in. And that is a great way to start your garden and be able to save seeds because they're all heirloom at our local library. Along the fence here, I have more of those beefsteak tomatoes, and they need pruned. I haven't pruned these ones at all. More beefsteaks. Both sides of the fence here are beefsteaks, and I'm gonna come back and work on pruning these some more because they've grown a lot since the last time I pruned them. But you can see we have a lot of tomatoes coming very soon. And then I threw some sunflowers in here to just kind of split them up. And then these are a disaster. I didn't prune these at all. These are the Mexico midget cherry tomatoes, and they are an indeterminate variety of tomato, which means they will just bush out everywhere. So my plan is in the morning to come out and get these pruned, and I will show you how to turn this bushy mess into a single stem tomato without losing all of your fruit. There's a lot in there. I've been getting about a pound of cherry tomatoes a day right now, so I'm gonna be putting the produce table out very soon. I have one random cucumber plant in here that I threw in the other day too, and I got our first cucumber off of it. I still have pickles left over from last year because I made a ton of pickles. So I only planted a couple of cucumber plants this year. It's a nice looking cucumber. I'm planning on making some salad for dinner tonight. That will go nicely. On the other side of the fence from the cherry tomatoes, I have a line of Roma tomatoes. I have come out and pruned these once. I'm working on coming out and staking them up again. I am getting those little worms they're drilling holes into the tomatoes. And I caught one of them today and threw it in here, and then I forgot about it. I was gonna take it to the chickens and I forgot. It might have gotten back out. Oh well. So we have lots of beautiful Roma tomatoes. Probably come out and pick some more tonight. And then again, I separated the Romas from the beefsteaks with, these are the chocolate sunflowers, which I'm really excited to see when they open. They're supposed to be like a black sunflower. I did not tear out my cabbages, cauliflowers, or broccolis yet. I actually am still getting some broccoli off. I need to come out and harvest broccoli either tonight or first thing in the morning because it's still sending out broccoli. Some of them are flowering that I didn't get out too fast enough, but there is still a lot of broccoli coming out, and I just harvested another purple cabbage head today. I did not get any cauliflower, so what's happening is this is a new type of cauliflower that I haven't tried before. This is a self-blanching cauliflower, and what I'm noticing is it will go from this to this seemingly overnight. It may be that I'm just not checking it frequently enough, but I believe that this is past where we can eat it. It's really, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like an edible version of cauliflower, and I don't know if I'm just missing it or I'm not sure exactly what's happening with it this year. It might just be that it's too hot for it right now and it's just going too fast to flower. But see, like, it starts in there really tiny. Maybe I just need to make sure I check it every single day and then come out and get it. I had 2 half rows of cauliflower and then sprinkled a couple in here where I had some cabbages that did not make it. And I haven't got any cauliflower, but I did get cauliflower in the fall. So I know that I can grow cauliflower. I have done it. I have not gotten a chance to plant butternut squash. Well, I planted butternut squash and spaghetti squash, and all of my squashes got eaten by the slugs because it was a very, very rainy spring here. And so I have not had a chance to go get more butternut or spaghetti squash seeds. I don't know if it's too late. I might try it and just see Fall planting is kind of a iffy situation. Sometimes we don't have a frost until November. Sometimes we have a frost in September. It just kind of depends on the year. I did get the arch trellis put up, and I've got green beans and cucumbers on there, and they are climbing. I'm very excited about that. It's very cool. There's some little baby pickles on there. There are not green beans on these ones yet though. I have two different varieties of green beans. One is a pole bean that is going to grow up a trellis. The other is a bush bean that you don't need to trellis. It'll just grow up and it will have like a finite height and then stop. I've got sweet potatoes in this row. I need to come out and water them again. Some of them are establishing fine, and some of them, that's a sweet potato back there, and that's a sweet potato right there. They're having a little bit more of a hard time with it being so dry. But I still have a few more sweet potatoes inside that I need to get planted. I haven't gotten to yet. This is part of that section that I still am working on getting cardboarded, covering up weeds, pulling out weeds, getting it mulched. This space in here is not currently being used yet. But I have more sweet potatoes down here. These ones were the first batch that I started. Oh, I need to get out and weed this. But these ones are doing well. They're establishing well. They're starting to vine out. They're looking really good. This is where I have tried like 3 or 4 times to plant squashes, and between the slugs and the squash bugs, it has been a battle. I'm gonna stop here real quick and see what squash bugs I can find. Goodness, there's hundreds of them. They are just out of control this year. The hard part is you want to get them off, but you also don't want to be too rough on your plant. Tons of them. As much as the squash bugs are a giant pain in the butt to deal with, I would much rather have squash bugs than the vine borers, because once the vine borers get in, there's nothing you can do. At least with the squash bugs, I can come out and pick all the bugs off every morning and every evening to try to keep them under control. They'll never be completely gone, but at least that will keep their numbers low enough that they hopefully won't just absolutely all out kill the squash plants. I do think it's kind of weird that the bugs kill their host plant and then they have no more food source. It kind of doesn't make sense to me. Like, that they would kill the plant and then have nothing to eat. But I guess they would just go from one plant to the next plant. Alright, well that's that. I'll be back in the morning to get some more squash bugs and try to keep those under control so they don't kill my squashes. Here are some of those bush bean green beans I was telling you about. They are starting to get some green beans on there. I'm hoping to have lots and lots and lots of green beans. I need to plant more green beans so I can share some with family and stuff. And then right next to the green beans is my winter rye, which looks like it is ready to harvest. So I need to get out here and cut all of these off and get those seed heads out of there. This can be used for chicken food. It can be used to grow more next year. I'm sure there's a lot of uses for this. I haven't entirely researched it, but I know that I can use it for lots of cool things. I have a few jalapeno peppers over here. They look really good. I'm Probably gonna pull some of those in the morning. Harvest some jalapenos and put this on the list to get weeded also. Probably the ones that are turning yellow, they need some more compost put on them, because since they're right next to each other, I don't think that it's a moisture issue. It's probably more of a they need some more compost issue. The sheep are going nuts. They already been fed and they already had their milk, so they've been milked. I did a watermelon row in the same spot I did it last year. It worked very well. I liked that it could vine out and not take up all of my garden space, and there's a lot of watermelons on here. I cannot wait to eat the first watermelon of the year. They are so good, and I have been dreaming of watermelons since they were over with last year. And this year I have a method of preserving them to turn them into sherbet, which I'm really excited about too. So we've got lots of watermelons growing on here, and as we go, when they are ready, I will show you how I know when my watermelon are ripe. I'm so mad at this Bermuda grass, guys. I worked really hard to redo my flower bed. I bought mulch, I made it look really pretty. 3 weeks later, it was completely covered in Bermuda grass again. So I'm gonna have to get out here and weed it again. It almost just needs like a weed whacker taken to it. That's how bad it is. This is what it's looking like now, even after being mulched. So it's never ending. The weeds are never ending. But the herb garden is doing really well. Oh, there's a section I forgot to show you. Hold on. Over along the fence line, I have some tomatoes that I traded a friend for. They look like they could use some water. I might have to get out here and water these. So these ones are the Abe Lincoln tomatoes. I did not have any of these in my seed catalog, so I wanted to try to expand and get some. I'm gonna get out here and prune these and get them some water and maybe some compost. And then these tomatoes over here are Amish paste tomatoes, and I'm curious to see how they do compared to the Romas. The mint is doing really well too. I haven't killed it this time, but I do think that the ones that look a little bit different, I think they might be holy basil and not actually mint. I think we might have had some seeds mixed in with the potting soil when I reused potting soil when I was doing plants, because I wanted to save it and not throw it out. My herb garden is doing a really good job. I've got some more flowers started up here. I need to get these in the ground. Flowers just don't get the priority over food, and I really want to have more flowers in my garden, so I'm trying to push. We've got zinnias, sunflowers, amaranths. I did start some amaranths in the garden. I don't know what happened to them. They just kind of went poop, and they're just gone. And the zinnias, same thing. I had borage, zinnias. I had a bunch of stuff in there. I think honestly just because it was so wet and then so dry that it just kind of got zapped. In the herb garden, it's doing amazing. Check out my yarrow. Isn't that awesome? I need to get some more salves made, so I need to harvest some yarrow and get some salves made with some plantain and stuff. I was hoping to have the borage for it too, but no such luck. A lot of weeding needs to happen in here. But my mum is blooming. This is one of the ones I got on clearance in the fall. The rosemary is huge. The echinacea is doing so well. We've been taking kale off of these. I made some quiches with cream from the sheep and eggs from the chickens. That is a cabbage. That's one of the ones I got in the flat that I bought. We'll see what it does. I don't know yet if it's actually going to form a head. There's more oregano back here. It is really huge. I need to get out and harvest some more of that. I've got some more holy basil. There's lettuces that are going to seed. There is the sage. The sage is looking awesome. Thyme is tucked back in there, in between the elderberry and the rose bush. I don't know if you can see it back there, but it's there. I just use it fresh. I haven't saved any of it yet. And check out the fennel. I still need to look up how to eat fennel bulbs. But this is one that we just plant it once. It just grows every year. It expands every year. And so it's awesome, very little work, food. So that's great. And then the seeds can be used for many, many things. And I've got a whole bunch more oregano back there as well. The elderberry bush is huge. I didn't prune it this year, and it is really, really tall. Taller than the garage. I'm either going to need a ladder to get up there, or I'm not going to be able to get those and they're just going to be bird food. But there's tons of elderberries going on. One of my favorite ways to use elderberries is in tea, and we are going to have so many elderberries this year. I cannot wait. We should have enough to even make like elderberry syrups. I even have a salad dressing that I bought that has elderberry syrup in it, and it was so delicious. So I'm hoping that I can recreate that salad dressing with some of the elderberries from our plants. We have tons. I have elderberries I've been digging up and giving away or selling, and sharing those with some friends. And I got ginger back here, which is doing really awesome this year. Last year my ginger died. I was not keeping it wet enough, and I had it in full sun and it did not like that, and it died. Have you ever seen tea seeds? These are the tea plants. I really need to get out here. I want to do picking this year. It might be a little bit too late, but when you pick, you take 2 leaves and a bud and you pick, and then as you pick, it tells it to bush out even further. And these are probably definitely going to need pruned soon too. But in November, they send out great big flowers, and now a year later almost, the flowers have finally turned into seeds. Look how huge these seeds are. They're ginormous, and then you can plant those and make more tea plants. So I'm hoping to be able to eventually do a whole hedge the whole way down and be able to make our own black teas. We'll just keep curving our way around the house here, seeing what's up, and then we'll make it back to the back garden. These are some trees that my mom had gotten me. I need to get these in the ground, and somehow some of my tomato seeds got into the potting mix and they sprouted as well. So maybe I can separate those and get those in a spot where they will grow better. This broccoli did awesome back here. I just harvested a little bit off of it the other day. I'm letting it have some seeds because I want to save seeds from it. I'll have tons. Just this little bit will give me tons and tons of seeds, and it's still sending out little broccoli heads down here. But this, I love this color. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous color, and it did so well for me. I'm really loving this broccoli, and I honestly don't remember which broccoli it was that got put in here. It got mixed up and I have no idea, but I love it. Over here, all the lettuces have gone to seed. I did start more lettuces, but the chickens got them, and so I haven't got more lettuce in the ground. I have a hard time growing lettuce in the summer. It just is so hot. It gets bitter and it goes to seed. And there's this little cabbage in here. I haven't pulled it out. We'll see what it does. It's so pretty, isn't it? It's just pretty. Even if it doesn't do anything, it's pretty. I've got more asparagus in here. I have some asparagus in the berry patch also. These are doing pretty well, even with kids and chickens and all sorts of things out here bothering them. They're doing pretty well. And this flower bed, it needs to get weeded too. I've been working on it while we're out here, and got some more strawberries put in here. Part of the problem is my daughter is terrified of the weed whacker, and she doesn't like it if I mow without her. She'll get really upset if I mow without her, so it makes it really hard to do like the edging, and then the stuff, you know, it grows in and it's a mess, especially that Bermuda grass. But I got some more strawberries planted in here. These ones were started from seed this year, and this strawberry over here was a trade, and it's sending out runners. Strawberries are amazing. Once you have a strawberry, it will just do its thing. It'll multiply, and you'll have endless amounts of strawberries eventually if you just let the runners go and let them plant themselves. They will do amazing for you. Hello guys. Are you eating my tomatoes? You better just get out of my garden. You're gonna be in trouble. Chickens, man, they just help themselves to everything. So rude. But maybe they'll eat some bugs. That'd be fine too. I gave them some squash bugs and some hornworm caterpillars the other day, and they looked at it and they were like, I'm not eating that. And I was like, are you serious right now? So my chickens are a little bougie. Alright, so in the back garden, I pulled up all the garlic that's been harvested. There's a couple of jalapenos over here. Something ate this jalapeno, but none of the others. Well, it ate all the leaves off of it, which is strange. I don't know what did that. I have a really hard time growing onions with my cats. I had onions back here. I have a very hard time growing onions from seeds, more because of the animals than it is because of them growing. Like, they grow fine, I transplant them out, and then the animals destroy them. So I put hardware cloth over top of them, but they didn't make it. So I have a couple onions over there that I started from seed, and those are doing fine. I had those covered up with, you'll see that gate over there. I'll show that to you. I have a bunch of volunteer marigolds. I didn't plant these, they just came back from last year, and volunteer Thai basil. If you have any good uses for Thai basil, let me know, because I only have like 1 or 2 recipes for Thai basil, and I have a ton of it, but none of my Genovese basil came up. This broccoli did amazing back here. I got tons off of this one, so I am also letting this one go to seed. You can see it's starting to form little seed pods. Those will get bigger, and then when they dry out, then I can save those for seeds for either planting this fall or next spring. And there's another Thai basil right here. It smells really delicious. It's just kind of spicy, so I don't want to use it for tea. I don't really want spicy tea, and I don't want to use it for Italian dishes because I don't really want spicy basil in my Italian dishes. I've got a bunch of the cherry tomatoes back here. These ones are the Champagne Bubbles tomatoes. I've been getting tons and tons off of here. They're really good. They're yellow, and I think they're pretty cute. They look like they have bubbles in them. These were my grandpa's favorite tomatoes. I've got a bunch of jalapenos in here. I like to save this back garden for stuff that I am trying to save seeds from. And so I used all my jalapeno seeds, and I'm planning to save seeds from these jalapenos. Somehow, a bell pepper got mixed up in here too. I don't know how that happens, but it happens. I've got some zucchini back here. Again, battling the squash bugs. They were doing okay. They were looking really sad this morning, so I came out and watered and looked for squash bugs. There was a decent amount of squash bugs and got those. And I really need to get out here and tie up and prune these tomatoes, because they're just, you can see they're falling all over the place. If you don't prune your tomatoes, if they're indeterminate tomatoes like this, they will just kind of turn into a bush and ramble out everywhere. Sometimes I will let my tomatoes go and not prune them on purpose, because sometimes the hornworms will eat down so much, and then I like to have another sucker that can grow and keep that plant going if it eats down the main stem on that plant. So like you can see, there's been a lot of eating going on, unauthorized snacking, where all my leaves are taken off, but I haven't found a hornworm. I have found a few, but whatever did this, I did not see it anywhere. And sometimes when you don't prune it and it's all like a mess, it's much harder to find the hornworms as well in there. And I've got a bunch of dill growing over here. I haven't actually harvested any of it yet. I just haven't had time to get around to it. And there's another holy basil in there. So this section, it could really use a lot of work right now, between harvesting, pruning, tying up, weeding, all of it. I took out all of the snow peas that I had in here. So if you remember, I had snow peas the whole way around here, and they did very well. I had lots put in the freezer, but I let some of them go and save the seeds from them for the fall or for next year. And then I pulled them all out, made sure I got all the seeds off of them, and stored them, put them away. I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't know what it is. Probably forgetting something. We will have to start fall seeds in the next month or so, ish. Probably in the next 2 to 4 weeks, we'll start some cabbages and some broccolis for the fall. All right, let's go check out the berries. We ate all the blueberries right off the bush. It was maybe about a handful this year. It wasn't a whole ton. So we just came out and we just ate them fresh right off the plant, and they were delicious. The blackberries have been doing really well, but the deer are also loving the blackberries, and this berry patch needs so much work. So much work. I have not gotten out here and worked on this at all, but I put the ladder over there because I thought maybe the deer would be like, oh no, what's that? And then they would leave my plants alone. But every time that there's ripe berries and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go out tomorrow and pick them, the deer beat me to it, and they have been really enjoying. Oh, there's a couple. but they're not quite ripe yet. But by the time I get back out here, they're going to take them. And I've got asparagus in here too, if you can see it in between all the weeds. It's actually a lot bigger than the stuff on the back porch. And we've got our grape plants. These, I think I've had putting a trellis for these on my to-do list for the last year, and I still haven't gotten around to doing it. I will, I promise, I will. This one had grapes on it last year, and it had grapes on it this year, but there they are. Okay, there they are. I thought something ate them. There's our grapes. Don't eat them, pickles. There's our grapes. The raspberry canes that I put in the ground did not make it. They're still there, but they did not have any growth or anything at all. They are just sticks. So we might have to try that again sometime. Tree-wise, the pecans are doing really well. I can see lots of pecans on the pecan tree. Persimmons are looking great. There's tons of persimmons on there. Nothing on the apple trees this year. Those were just planted last year, and I wasn't expecting them to have apples this year, but they did have flowers, so I thought maybe they would, but they did not. And because we've had the late frosts this spring, we only had one pear on the pear tree, and my daughter pulled it off when it was like this big. So we have no pears, but that's okay. It'll be fine. But there's so much going on in the garden. It's so exciting. I am trying to get a produce table put together that I can put out when I have extra stuff to share, and I am very, very excited for the rest of this gardening season and looking forward to some fall planting and getting the freezer filled up for the winter and trying to save as much food as possible. Getting some stuff canned, making sauces and salsas, and I would love to take you guys along with me and show you how I like to use stuff straight from the garden to make meals and save my family some money on groceries. So if you would like to hang out with us and see how we are doing things around here, how we grow things in the garden and make our own foods, feel free to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks for hanging out today. Bye.